if you allow the collective consciousness to dictate, if you allow the trauma and shame and wounds of not just yourself, but the generations before you that passed that baton over and over and over again, if you allow that to dictate what's possible for you, what a waste of a life, man.
Nothing you do matters unless what you do matters. I'm Amadon DellErba, and this is Get Real or Die Trying. How we doing, tribe? Welcome to Get Real or Die Trying. I'm super stoked to be here, Austin, Texas, with my man Preston Smiles in his studio. What an honor. Been following Preston for a few years now. He is an author. He is a men's coach. He is a lot of things. I'll let him speak for himself. But I first heard about him when I read one of his books years back, and I've just kind of followed his vibe and his words and really appreciate all that he has to share with the world. And I'm honored to be here. So how you doing, brother?
I'm blessed, man. Blessed.
Yeah.
I'm highly favored. Grateful to be here with you. I have an affinity towards people who don't fit into boxes.
Yeah.
I think there's just the part of me that's always rooting for the underdog or the left of center or whatever you want to call it type person. And from the moment I sort of caught wind of your essence, I've always been like, that dude's fucking weird and awesome and tapped in.
I appreciate
And
that.
people ask me to be on podcasts often, and I say pretty much no 90% of the time. And the other 10% is just spirit-led, and like God will come through, or the voice of them will say that one. And
Love it, brother.
that's what this is.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And my daughter sometimes will see something. She says, "That's weird." And I said, "That's good. Weird's good.
Mhm.
Weird's cool, baby.
Facts.
We love weird."
Facts.
I was like, if it's weird, that's how we live.
Yes. Yes.
So, retraining the dialogue with the kids, that weird is not a bad thing. It's an awesome thing.
That
So
part.
appreciate that, man. Same with you, brother. Your spirit just connected with me, and I really felt the vibration. Appreciated your message, and you're a family man, as am I, and I just love your connection to your family, to your wife, and a lot of what you preach and speak, man. So thanks for having me.
Let's get it.
Let's dive in. So you got a new book that just came out, Spiritual Millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about that. It's got the 7 inner laws in your book about abundance and manifestation. I know manifestation is a big topic, and everyone has their different opinions about it and different things, and I have mine. And tell me about the book.
Yeah, man. The book, like everything, sort of knocked me over and said, write me. I did what you call a vision fast in the woods a year and a half ago. And 4 out of the 8 days that I was there, it's just me, nature. I was nude most of the time with just some boots on.
Nice.
And connecting with the ants and the flowers and the trees and the butterflies, and just in a conversation with nature by way of God. And in that conversation over those 4 days where I was not eating, I only drank 2 gallons of water. And so I just tried to clear the channel as much as humanly possible and create a level of receptivity where I could actually hear what my next steps and the guidance was. And it said, you are to write a book called Spiritual Millionaire, because you've been one before you ever had it in physicality. So tiny little backstory. I used to teach surf lessons in LA, and I would, be in my beat up Prius, barely having any money, and go surf in the morning, go to this cafe in Topanga with my buddy, play Scrabble while having chai tea. Then I'd come down, I'd teach a surf lesson, then I'd read a book, then I'd go back home and study some more, and then, go about my day. And throughout that process, I quickly realized that I was operating from millionaire consciousness, meaning I got that I was winning life in that moment. I was not operating from any level of lack. And while I had a desire to produce outward what I was experiencing inward, it was a choosing but not wanting. And there's a big distinction. When I want something, there's a weight to it. When I choose something and then allow and take the actions that are required for that thing, but I'm allowing Spirit, God, Buddha, Krishna, Jesus to do its thing in the timing from which that thing would like to happen, I'm operating from a full cup. And I was doing that before I ever had a single dime. So as things started to get added to my life, including money and accolades and all that stuff, nothing changed. And yet I wasn't teaching this stuff. I was just living it. I was living it. And in those woods, for those 4 days, the message was, you are to now teach this. You are to talk about it. You are to remind people of the principles that you use to put yourself in this position. And it's not a thing that I did and then I landed and then I'm done. It is a way of living. It's a way of being that I've been operating from for quite a long time. Yeah. And I do slip. Yeah. I'm not always operating as a spiritual millionaire, but it's like riding a bike, right? I could get on a giant bike right now with one big tire and one small tire. The principles are still the same now. So I might be a little wobbly on that bike, but I already know in my body. And that, to me, that's the key to the whole thing. Yeah. We can know things in consciousness. We can know things with our mind. But once the body is on board, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So how long did it take you to write the book after you got the download in the woods and then you came back and just started working on it?
Yeah, probably 6 months.
Cool.
It's interesting because I tried to use AI at first because I'm dyslexic. And I also had a writing partner. And then I had to get rid of both of those. It was like the universe was like, nah, bro, it's not gonna work. Yeah. I had a full book by speaking my thoughts into a Google Doc and then putting it into AI and saying, clean this up, make this more rational, et cetera, et cetera. And then I had this other guy named Bobby who was helping me. And both of those did not work. Yeah. The whole book is in the garbage. And we got to the very end and I started reading it out loud. I'm like, this isn't it. So the whole team scrambled and they're like, wait, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to write this whole book in 1 week. And so at the very end, I wrote the entire book all over again in a week.
Nice. You just had the flow, man. Flow state. I love it. Yep. Is this your third book?
Third book.
Third book.
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
Man. And you co-wrote a book with your wife. And then your first book called
Love Louder.
Thank you, Love Louder. That was the one I read. Yeah. I got to check out these two new ones. I'm stoked to check them out.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So yeah, the mindset of and the consciousness around abundance, manifestation, the spiritual millionaire mindset is an interesting thing to evaluate, I think, for people in their lives. A lot of people have a mindset that they're not worthy. And part of that is the rhetoric of the world, especially Western culture. You're never good enough. You don't have this. You're not, you're not good enough till you have the $1 million house, the 4-car garage, this and that, which isn't true. That comes with manifestation. But talk a little bit about in your own personal life and kind of growing up, your story of the shift of realizing that self-worth, realizing, you talked about being in California and being happy and having that mindset. You're doing surf lessons and you already held that, character about yourself and that belief, which is important. Self-belief is so important. What is it that kind of separated you from really launching? Was there like a moment where you were just like, bam, like you saw the blessings start coming, the money, so to speak? Life's not about money, but money is a tool, and we need tools to achieve things. If money is used in the right way, it's a huge blessing. Yes. And I know for me personally, in my life and my alternative upbringing, I grew up in an eco-village in a community, and with a mindset of tremendous spiritual values and pro-social work. And I was raised that, you have to make money in a way that serves other people in service. Yeah. And that's hard because I can go make $1 million, pretty easily doing whatever. Yes. But trying to do it that serves other people, it actually isn't hard when you tap in, but it can be hard to get out of the, consumer greed capitalism mindset.
Facts. It's an upstream thing.
Yeah.
Given that the majority of the world is playing a different way.
Yeah.
So what a blessing that you got to grow up in a scenario where that was already the prerequisite and that was set up in such a way that you could go after it.
Yeah.
That's not common at all.
Very uncommon.
And it's still uncommon right now.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who, I think more people than ever are trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
How can I align what is handwritten on my soul and still pay my bills?
Yeah.
Still go on trips.
Yeah.
Still, operate and function in the world.
Yeah.
That's a big conversation. And what you're talking about is the difference between a life of design and a life of default. And I am a proponent of designing a life that feels good for you. A lot of people are optimizing for money, but they're not optimizing for lifestyle. And to me, where I win and my family wins is I've optimized for what matters to me, right? Today is Thursday, right? I could not know because I've set up my life in such a way that I do whatever I want every single day. And a part of that is me jumping on the trampoline. A part of that is, as I spoke to you earlier, I drop the kids off. I pick the kids up. I play little games in the morning. I'm chasing them around the house. I want that. I want the capability to go swimming in the middle of the day and then go lay in my hammock under the trees and read and then do some gardening and then do some coaching.
Yeah.
Right? We live and then we die. And what I'm a proponent of is everybody understanding that this thing's going to end. And if you allow the collective consciousness to dictate, if you allow the trauma and shame and wounds of not just yourself, but the generations before you that passed that baton over and over and over again, if you allow that to dictate what's possible for you, what a waste of a life, man. Like, I really think it's a tragedy when somebody gets to a certain point and goes, oh my God. And that's typically what happens. Yeah. Babies and old people are the most honest people in the world.
Absolutely.
Babies will be like, yo, you're fat. Or you got a booger in your face.
Yeah.
And old people get to the point where they're like, fuck it.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The game is to hack that consciousness now.
Yeah.
Is to make a decision and then live with the consequences, but there's beautiful unintended consequences.
Yeah.
Right? The reality, and I coach people all the time on this. I'm like, okay, so if you were to quit your job, the one that you hate, one, we won't quit until you can find a way to gamify it and love it, and then we'll quit. So we'll quit at the top, not the bottom. But then if you were to, and you were to go after this thing, right? You want to play the Spanish guitar, you want to DJ, you want to do X, Y, Z, whatever it is. We were to go after this thing, and it worked to a degree, and then it didn't work. What would happen? And oftentimes people say, well, then I might have to move in with my parents. Or, okay, yeah. Awesome. And then what would happen? And then I'd be sad for like a couple months. Yes. And then what would happen? Well, then I would just figure it out and get another job. Exactly.
Go back.
Exactly.
Go backwards.
Or
default.
Figure it out. Yeah. Regardless, if you can get to the end, whenever that is, and say, oh man, I went for it.
Yeah.
I tried that thing. I played the Spanish guitar for 6 months in Colombia, and it was awesome. And then I ran out of money. And then I moved home with my parents. Yeah. And then I reconnected with my mom. And then I healed the thing with my brother. And then I got another job, corporate, different, another one I like.
Yeah.
I'd rather take that adventure than sitting in the comfort zone and sticking to what you know because you're scared.
Yeah. Yeah, so many people stay stuck, man. Stay stuck in what they think they know, which the interesting thing is they don't really even know it. They're just slaves.
Dude.
And I don't say that demeaningly, but, from a standpoint of understanding human nature and most of humanity, we're actually not that far removed from hunter-gatherer status. Most people are just hunter-gatherers. We're going out and we're gathering to survive, and we're, you know, in that status, just a more sophisticated form of hunting and gathering.
That I've said that many times. I think a lot of us are sophisticated addicts.
Yeah.
And we look at the homeless person who's smoking meth or crack, and we say, "Oh, I feel so bad for them." And then we go back and we shop on Amazon and we try to get high and we drink some more stuff and we try to sext it away or social media it away. And like, bro, there is no difference. One of these is more socially acceptable, but is it the same toxic shame that's driving the behavior, the escapism? Like, can you live and be in the discomfort? My biggest work in this world is helping people build a somatic body that can hold what they say they want and then some. There's 3 levels, right? There's information, there's transformation, and then there's demonstration. And most of us did not grow up in communities like yours where it was demonstrated how to be a man, how to operate as a conscious queen or king, how to love, how to re-enter the room, how to connect before you correct. Like, all these things are such foreign things to most people. And so it's very challenging to be what you have not seen. And so they don't know how to demonstrate. They don't know how to embody what they want. Which is why we say in, you know, the manifestation spiritual world, offer the vibration before you ever see it in consciousness, before you ever see it physically. We offer the vibration. We assume the position. We feel into it and allow ourselves to know that there is no thing on the planet that isn't intended here. And all things are birthed from desire. So if I have a desire to start a company or build a thing or work on a car, whatever the thing is, the company will appear. The car will appear. The breakdown will happen so that I can work on the car. Right? So we offer the vibration. We feel it now and we go, yes, heard, understood. This book, I didn't know I was going to write it. I just offered the vibration and the energy said, game on. This is what you're writing. Heard. Let's go.
What was the, if you look back on your life, what was the transformative experience or experiences that really shifted and shaped you? Like, what was your low point, your rock bottom, where you were like, this is not working, what I'm doing sucks, my mindset sucks, I'm not manifesting, I feel like shit. You know, what was that for you?
So, yeah, man, it's a tricky one because I've had so many. In our workshop, The Bridge, we talk about how there are no throwaway people. And the reason why I'm so big on no throwaway people, like even the people who help me work on this property, we're equals, right? I might have more money in my bank. I might have a bigger house or car, but like in the eyes of God, like same, right? The reason I have that consciousness and that mentality is I was a throwaway kid. I was just a little, you know, ghetto, skinny, dumb black kid that they threw away into the system and put me in special needs classes. And, you know, kids are so malleable. You know, our psyches are forming between the ages of 0 and 7. And because my dad was struggling with his own demons and drugs and women and all that stuff, and my mom was super stressed out and in her own world trying to love on me and my sister and hold space, I think that I kind of got lost in the sauce. And I'm 45, and which means I grew up in a time in which gang violence in Los Angeles specifically was at its height. Right? It was popular to be a gangster. And so now you have this sort of perfect storm where, you know, this 7, 8, 9-year-old little boy who's seeking guidance and does not have a rites of passage, well, the streets are rites of passage. And then I go into a system that basically says, you know, we don't care about you. My parents were in the position they were, and the perfect storm of LA and gang activity, I just reverted to clearly in this lifetime, I'm not going to be one of those lucky people who's good looking, who's got the money, who's got the X, Y, and Z. So very early, I figured out that if I was going to survive, I had to lean on my own understanding and I had to have my own back, right? We all adapt. If, for instance, you had depressed parents, usually a child will become a cheerer-upper type kid.
Mm-hmm.
If you had dangerous parents or volatile parents or caregivers, that child will sometimes be more quiet and to themselves, shy.
Mm-hmm.
If you had stressed out parents, you might become a child that has no needs, right? I got no needs. That was me.
Yeah.
We talked about breaking bones. I broke nothing.
Mm.
I did some of the most dangerous stuff you could possibly do growing up as a kid, and I never broke a single bone, not because I did want to go hard. I just had to be calculated, because if I broke anything, it would add to the pot of stress in my house, which would mean that I would be more of a burden.
Yep.
I'm already dyslexic. I'm already in the retarded kids class. I'm already considered the shame of the family. My friends were all, I grew up in a neighborhood with like 100 boys, and I was like the ugly kid. Like, out of all the friends, I wasn't the most attractive one. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And so it's like check, 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 check. All the things you don't want to be in a society, I was.
Yeah.
So given that I've felt all those things, and over time, I just developed this huge heart. And my mom tells this story. She recently told me that when I was graduating from elementary, they had a special thing, like a special award for kindness. And I won that award because whenever the bullies would go after the nerds or the special needs kids, I would bully the bullies.
Yeah.
So I would step in. And so she said, I got this award, and not only did, the parents clap, but all the kids stood up and clapped. And I had this whole like standing ovation thing because of my heart.
Yeah.
So I've been like this for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's just paid off.
Yeah.
Because I've stuck to my principles that, to me, love is all there is.
Yeah.
We are swimming in love.
Amen,
we are
brother.
breathing love.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I read a book called the Rancher book. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it talks about being a love saturated soul. I just want to be love saturated. And when I find myself getting angry or discontent, I come back to that love, be love saturated, and all the other problems just kind of disappear. You can solve a lot with love.
Facts.
And you talked about, it seems like you've done like a 360, 180 from your mindset, being a throwaway kid, not feeling self-worth. And then you developed a rigorous mindset to reverse that, which I applaud. It's cool.
Because I didn't think anybody was coming to save me.
Yeah. So you had to.
Correct.
Yeah.
So out of desperation,
yeah,
I had a moment where I'm like, okay, if this is going to happen, it's only going to happen because you say so. Yeah. And, I had a moment in 2012 where I was driving home from the beach and I needed gas, and I knew I only had $8 in my account. And I pulled up to an ExxonMobil and I put $4 in the tank. So I had $4 left. And as I'm putting the $4 in, I just had a moment where I'm like, how are you in this position? Like, you are such a beautiful soul.
Yeah.
How are you in this position? And at that moment, I was 32. And so I called my mom and I said, listen, I need help. I got to come home. And she said, absolutely. And to this day, I still use that principle, which is, if you don't know, find someone safe and ask.
Yeah.
I think so many of us try to do everything by ourselves.
Yep.
And yet, life is a team sport.
Yeah.
Even the plants, we're all in this thing together. And so why would I try to stand on my stoop and figure it all out when somebody else has it figured out? Or somebody else could help me. Somebody else could assist me in seeing what I can't see. And so I asked my mom for help and got rid of my apartment, sold everything, and moved in with her, and decided to take the next 6 months to a year just going all in on business. And the reason I did that is because at the time I was doing ayahuasca ceremonies, 2 ayahuasca ceremonies a month. I was doing transcendental meditation every single day. And I was leaning in my spiritual conscious mind. But the truth was that I was hiding in the medicine. I was hiding in the practices because it was a way that I could turn my back on the stuff that scared me.
Yeah.
Right? I could feel. Yeah, let's feel. Let's do some plant medicines. But for me to look at numbers, for me to decide that I'm worthy of being called an entrepreneur, nobody's in my family has ever done that.
Yeah.
Everybody works for somebody.
Yeah.
We're average, lower class, slightly middle class Black people.
Yeah.
Where does that happen?
Yeah.
So I had to break something.
Break the mold.
Yes. And decide, hey, ayahuasca will be there. All these practices will be there. You're going to go where you're scared.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent 6 months going into where I was scared, studying marketing, studying business, understanding what actually makes things work, and then wrapping my consciousness around this idea that it was possible for me. It starts there. Is it possible for you? I coach people all the time. They're like, how do I get a relationship like you? Decide that it's possible for you.
Yeah. Just make a decision. Yeah.
Make the decision and feel it to the degree that you can, as much as humanly possible.
Yeah. I used to lay in bed when I was, 16, 17 and visualize my future wife, what she looked like.
Yes.
My family, my life, just visualized it and believed it and knew that I'd manifest it when I was ready.
Yes.
And when I met my wife, she looked, I saw a woman with curly hair in my visions. She had red curly hair,
Yes.
and she looked kind of like my vision, and
Yes.
I visualized my children. I visualized being a father.
Mm-hmm.
Which is my greatest joy and honor, That's the greatest success. And we can make millions of dollars, we can build all these things, we can do whatever. But to me, being a father and being a good father, most importantly, and raising these children correctly on a world where there's so many kids being raised in the wrong way and taught the wrong things, that it's a tragedy. So if you want to change the world, obviously first change yourself, but then have kids and raise them right to be change agents. Raise them to be loving, compassionate, beautiful, strong children,
Yes.
And were you, circling back to LA real quick, because you were probably like a preteen when the Rodney King situation happened. I bet that was a pretty pivotal moment in your young consciousness and and being in the streets there and seeing that city burn and all those things. What was that like for you?
That's a really good question. It was interesting because when you are born into a skin suit that has more melanin than most people, there's a point, especially in the United States of America, you get to talk. And I got to talk around 8, 9 years old, which is, hey, baby, I know you're a sweetheart and you got nothing but love in your heart. But there are people in this world who will want to hurt you just because of your skin color.
Yeah.
So mommy and daddy are just having you be just a little aware. Right? They didn't try to scare me. They just gave me the talk that every little Black boy has to have, which is there are people who want to hurt you.
Yeah.
And so by the time the Rodney King thing happened, I had already had enough interactions with the police and the world to get wait a minute, something seems different here. It's interesting. My friends and I used to do these things called runouts, where we would go into a liquor store, we would grab as much alcohol as we possibly could, and then we would run out as fast as possible. And I did that probably 50 times.
Wow.
And this one particular night, my buddy Scott called me and said, yo, we're going out, we're going to do the thing. And rewind back to 11 years old. At 11, my dad caught me smoking weed. And instead of punishing me or beating me up or whatever the case may be, he said, I'm going to give you 24 hours to think about whether you want the life that is associated with somebody smoking weed. And he said, you told me you wanted to be like Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson. Do they smoke? He's like, the boys on the corner smoke.
Great way to handle that.
Yes. So he let me sit in it for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then he said, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
24 hours later, he said, what do you choose?
Yeah.
If you choose to do this, I got you. Daddy got you. I love you.
Yeah.
And I chose,
put the choice on you.
yes, I chose not to.
Yeah.
And then he said, and these words came right up the moment this happened. He said, you're a leader. And you're such a leader that if everybody else is going left, but something in you says go right, you will anyway. That's the type of boy you are.
Yeah.
And he poured into me.
Beautiful.
And then he hugged me and he said, go.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not on punishment. You're not taking my, you know, my Nintendo 64. Like, what's happening? Are you taking my Jordans? Can I still play basketball? Nothing. No punishment, nothing. Just love. And he poured into me. So that's 11 years old.
Yeah.
Now fast forward to 15. He said in that conversation, I know you're going to be a boy. I know you're going to do dumb stuff, but you're going to know when you're not supposed to. Right? He poured into me.
Yeah.
So now Scott calls me, 15 years old. Yo, we going out? I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm supposed to.
Nice.
Scott's like, nah, bro, don't be a bitch. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Something internally, don't do it. So I don't go. Hang up the phone. Within an hour, every one of them was shot. I was in that car.
Wow.
The same one the day before, and the day before, and the day before, doing the same thing we would have been doing that day. But for some reason, I couldn't spell intuition at that point, but I knew it. And my dad's voice came forward. You're a leader. If it doesn't feel right, you won't do it. So that moment, Scott was shot in the head.
Wow.
And it was so traumatic, but I didn't cry because I didn't know how to cry at that point. I'm 15, and in my 15-year-old consciousness, especially if you grow up in a Western sort of macho world, you're hearing, don't be a bitch, don't be a pussy, don't be a little faggot. Only, you know, even from my parents.
Yeah.
This idea of, you know, big boys don't cry was so indoctrinated into my body that my friend got his head blown off and I could not produce a tear. Numb. I knew something was off then at 15. I'm like, I can't feel this.
Yeah, it's not right. Yeah.
So here, I'm answering your question in a backwards way.
No, I love it. Yeah.
So then I get, I'm scared, right? I have survivor's guilt because I didn't go. And my friends get killed. Okay. Why? Right? I'm a kid.
Yeah.
So my dad says, do you want to switch schools? I said, I absolutely do. He says, I know this woman named Shirley, who was my high school sweetheart. She's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I told her what happened. She said she can take you in. Do you want to go? I said, yes. So without ever seeing Shirley, I've never seen her in my life. 15 years old, I get on an airplane. I get off the plane. This is before cell phones and all that stuff. She has a sign that says my name on it.
Wow.
I walk up to her. We hug. She says, you're going to be living with me.
Wow.
Now, Shirley's my godmom, and I love her to this day. She is my mom. I'm moving with Shirley. Shirley lives inside of, this is redlining, by the way. She lives just inside the lines of one of the more rich white public schools. So I get admitted into this high school that is all white. And remember, I'm coming from Black, Samoan, Mexican, Filipino, like gang high school. We didn't have books. We didn't have lockers. It was like it was a scary place.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm coming from that. And then 5 days later, I pull up and it's like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's like BMWs, Mercedes, all these rich white kids hopping out of their cars. And they're all buff and beautiful and all the things. And I am the only Black male in the school.
Wow.
Right. So I'm walking through the hallways, and you know how in high school they have like there's the door and then there's like a window cut out. As I'm walking down the hallway, people are like, yo, yo, yo. And they're like hitting each other and running to the window and like, we got a Black dude, right? It's like one of those moments, right? So I'm like this crazy cool alien to everybody.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, right? I'm acclimating. I'm on the basketball team. This kid, Brad, says, we're going out tonight. We get in his BMW. I'm in the back seat here. Another kid in the back seat. The other two in the front. We're listening to Outkast, Tupac, and Biggie. They had their seats folded all the way down in my lap. We all have 40s. They're smoking weed. I don't smoke anymore since 11. We're all drinking 40s and smoking weed. Drinking, driving, smoking weed, listening to Tupac, Outkast, and Biggie. And I'll never forget the song Wheels of Steel by Outkast comes on. These are the wheels of steel. Right? And I'm sitting there with this 40 and I'm like, yo, what is life right now? This is the same thing that I was doing with my black friends. But these kids are going to Yale and those kids are going to jail. Boom. In my 15-year-old mind, I literally was like, it's a setup. You can't rise to low expectations because we're doing the same things.
Yeah.
I was just in another friend group doing the same thing. But these kids are literally dying and going to jail. And these kids, they're like, it's a phase. Their parents have an expectation.
They had the privilege to buy the liquor instead of steal it.
That too, right?
In a Beamer.
Yes. So the expectation is you're in a phase and then you'll come out of that phase and you'll go to a good college and you'll get that thing, right? And so all of that was a part of me understanding and not demonizing white people, but demonizing a system that did not want me, going back to the throwaway kid. I'm going, oh my God, I'm not supposed to win here. Like, now I see it.
Yeah.
This high school, state of the art, everything, turf football field, lacrosse team, X, Y, and Z. This one, no books. This one, dirty, beat up, teachers are terrible. This one, completely funded, not funded. And so here I am getting this perspective where I go, oh, it's a game. And I'm going to play the game well.
Yeah.
That changed my life for sure.
Yeah.
Not just Scott being killed, but the moment in that BMW changed everything. I literally flashed like, oh my God, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it.
What an interesting thing. Yeah. Being in the car with the same thing, doing the same thing, but in a different context, you know, it's like, your mind is like, wow, I can play this. Yeah.
Yes.
I think my father's from Pittsburgh.
Is he?
He grew up in Uptown, you know, in the ghetto, you know, behind the saloon with nothing. And he talks a lot about how that transformed his life, and he came from nothing and went on to be a beautifully, you know, successful spiritual man who really changed the world and changed a lot of lives and touched a lot of people. And, you know, he, similar, you know, growing up, he had that, you know, I'm just a poor Italian kid in the ghetto, you know, growing up behind the saloon. And he pulled out of the ghetto, so to speak. You know, he left the neighborhood and went on a spiritual journey. At 24, he gave his life to God and became of service to humanity. And that took him all over the world. He worked with Nicky Cruz, who, you know, the Crossing the Switchblade, they made a movie about him. Nicky Cruz was a gang leader in New York. He had a Puerto Rican gang of 10,000 gang members, big gang. And he found God, Nicky Cruz, and had a ministry, started Teen Challenge, get kids off the street, you know, especially young men, get them out of the gangs. And my father, because he grew up in the inner city and was experienced with all that, and, you know, had those, you know, and his was the opposite. His high school, he was one of the few white people. It was all inner city black kids. And he grew up singing with black kids and on the street corners for money. And he sang in gospel choirs. And so he grew up in black culture. And, you know, Italian culture too, but he was mostly black people in his school. And so he, you know, it was interesting because he talks about how that gave him perspective and taught him, you know, value. And you know, he became a recognized spiritual leader much later in life. He became a reverend, and he left Christianity and had a more expanded, you know, spiritual viewpoint, and was a spiritual teacher and wrote books. But I always respect that he was in Tucson, Arizona in the 70s. He was a reverend. He had his own ministry. He said that his spiritual elder was a black man who was the landscaper at the University of Arizona, mowed the lawns. That's who he went to for counsel. Wasn't the esteemed mega church pastor or the priest or this guy. He said this man had more wisdom and truth and beauty and goodness in him, and he went to him for counsel. And took off his collar and said, "Teach me, brother." You know, and learned from him. And that always stood out to me, like the humility of that, and just recognizing, you know, we all have so much to give each other, you know, and these different cultures and experiences. And It's interesting too. We've done a lot of work in my family with Native Americans, and there's a similarity. I think I don't want to speak because I'm not Native American and I'm not a black man, obviously, but there's a similar consciousness of oppression because they're oppressed people, and they've been oppressed and abused, and like you said, there's throwaway. And speaking to these Native American elders about the youth and trying to understand the consciousness, because when I say oppressed consciousness, it's generational. You're raised in this, and so like when I'm listening to you, I'm seeing that you had this aha moment in this BMW with these white kids, you know, these rich white kids, and you're like, I don't have to be oppressed. You know, even though you are oppressed, you have been oppressed. You're, you know, Black people, Native Americans, minority groups in general in America are oppressed, but you don't have to be.
Facts.
And that, you know, that may stir up people, stir up minorities, and think, well, you're not. How could you say that? You're a white guy. You don't know what it's like to, you know. But I truly believe that, you know. I think you're an example of that. It's just consciousness, you know. And another thing my father, you know, says, one God, one planetary family. You know, it's all, we're all one family, and the separation has to end, and we have to have unity without uniformity. You know, radical unity is what he called it.
100%.
And it's a beautiful thing.
You know what's interesting about the oppressed conversation? I think that most people in the West are oppressed. And what I mean by that is, I think that they've been so cleverly bamboozled into thinking that materials and status makes you something, that they miss the juice of life. I've been building clean water wells in Tanzania, Africa for over 10 years with my wife and her best friend Tennille's organization called EPIC, which stands for Everyday People Initiating Change. And I'll never forget the first time I went into deep into the bush, because they sort of prepared us. They said, listen, you're going to a place where there's no electricity, and you're going to see a different level of poverty than you've ever experienced in your life. And we got there, and as we pulled up, they could hear us because it's quiet in the bush, right? There's nothing. They could hear us, and the whole village came together, and they were singing this song, and they were clapping and dancing. Asante, asana, asante, asante, sana. And as we were coming off of this van, they're singing and they're celebrating. It's this beautiful fucking like just cacophony of love. And we go, and we had a translator for Swahili. I speak a little bit now, kidogo, kidogo. And we have a translator, and we're shaking hands as we go down. And they are standing in such dignity and grace and so much power and love that by the time I got to the 8th person, I could not stop crying because I realized in that moment that I was poorer than them. They were operating from a level of consciousness and regality that I had never touched in my life.
They were rich in spirit.
They were rich in spirit. They were rich in community. They were rich in power and poise and love. And here we are with our Western conversation. Here, check out our cell phones. And here, you want to buy some Jordans? Oh, you think you should have a fancier car? They had everything, minus clean water. And you know what's crazy about that? Because they walked us, and the reason we were bringing clean water was because the little girls, if there's no clean water, the little girls, based on their family structure, have to get the water. And the water is usually miles away. And they have to start at like 3, 4, 5 a.m., which means they're walking in the dark. And there's this stupid lie that if you rape a virgin, that you get rid of AIDS. So these little girls are being raped, but then you can't talk about sex or rape. So they're getting AIDS and pregnant. And so if you put clean water right in the village, which we put at the schools, then the little girls can go to schools. So they take us on this walk, and we're walking. We get to this thing that is literally no bigger than my arms are, like this. And they say, there's the water. And it's a dried up like hole with a little bit of like stagnant water and mosquitoes on top of it. And then there's cow shit around it. And I tapped somebody, I said, wait, so you're telling me they drink that every day? And they said they absolutely do. Again, boom, heart exploded. Then I have a moment and I say, well, how are they so energized and happy and all the things. And he said, they have built up a resilience and a biology that can withstand what's in there.
Mhm.
If you drink, Preston, if you drink even an inch of that, you would instantly be throwing up and have diarrhea.
Yeah.
But they don't.
Yeah.
And I had this moment where I'm like, again, these people are tougher and more equipped for life than I am.
Yeah.
And here I am trying to come in as the savior to help. And the truth is they're helping me far more than I'm helping them.
Yeah.
So
I had a similar experience when I was about 12 years old. I wasn't in Africa, but I saw a documentary, and you know how all the kids from the village run up to the car, you know, the Westerner, the white guy coming in, and they're just singing, and I saw the smiles on their face, and they're singing songs, and I just wept.
Yeah.
And I thought, God, I want what they want. Like, here I am, such a spoiled kid in America. I have everything. I didn't grow up wealthy at all or anything like that, but I mean, I have everything compared to them. They have nothing, but they have everything. And I saw it in their eyes, and it really made an impact on my little 12-year-old soul.
Yes.
And just seeing the beauty and the purity, you know, and the lack of want.
Yes.
You know, there's no want. And Western culture, we're always wanting more. Consume this, consume that. We're not happy till we get this, we get that. And there's just such beauty in that moment. So I can relate to that. Not in person, not being there, but just I had a similar experience.
Yes,
and
brother.
I have a friend. Have you ever seen the movie Machine Gun Preacher? Gerald Butler.
I think I have.
And it's a true story about a man named Sam Childers. And he was they called him a machine gun preacher. He grew up in Pennsylvania, and he was in gang life and motorcycle gangs and drugs and violence. He found God. He went over to Africa and Uganda on a mission. He ended up staying over there and ended up actually doing a lot of rescue missions, rescuing children from becoming child soldiers, basically, and with a machine gun. I mean, he was warfare.
Yes.
And he never ended up leaving. He's been there for like 25 years, built schools, orphanages.
I have seen this.
And beautiful story, but he came and spoke, and he was on my podcast too, and he came and spoke at the grand opening of our temple in Arizona.
Wow. And
just hearing the stories and the similar, you know, experience that he had of just like, these are the richest people he's ever met in his life. They're so beautiful, these souls. And these are, you know, that's why I get a little impatient now with Western people when they're complaining about stuff. I'm like, you have no idea. Not that even I do firsthand experience, but I have the consciousness to know that they have no idea, and that I have no idea what it's like.
Yes.
But I know the beauty of when you have God's love in your heart and mind, like those kids do.
Yes. And
when these kids, their parents were killed in the Civil War, they had nothing, and they're still singing and laughing and beautiful souls, and it's remarkable, you know. And
facts.
I want my kids to see that, you know, when they're old enough. I want them to see when they're complaining, you know what, let's watch this video.
Yes.
I'll take them to Africa someday. Like, let's see this, or wherever it may be.
Facts.
Like, these are beautiful. This is what you want in your heart and mind.
Big.
You know.
That's big.
Yeah.
You know, so my nephew, let's call it 9 months ago, gave my son his Nintendo Switch. And it was this interesting moment because he let him play it while we were visiting. And I could see the addict be birthed as he played this video game.
Wow.
And he played for maybe, let's call it 20, 30 minutes. And I said, okay, King, we're putting it down. We're going to draw, or we're going to go take a walk. And we went to draw and take a walk. And he said, hey, can I play that again? And I said, okay, let's time to talk. And I explained to him, and I still do to this day, that there are people and companies that are doing their absolute best to hook you in such a way that you feel like you have to play that game. Now, I'm going to let you play because I know that what you resist persists. But we're going to play from a different consciousness.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to what my dad did with me. Instead of telling me you can't smoke weed, he said you can, but let's see it.
And this is where it ends up.
All the way. Let's see it for what it is. You know, I've been coaching people for 14 years. And let's call it 2 years ago, I had a girl, a woman who was addicted to porn. And she said, you know, she wanted me to help her. She was a one-on-one client. And I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch porn every day for the next 7 days. I want you to watch the same porn you always watch. But this time, when you watch it, I want you to consider and think about the people who wrote the script that has you hooked. I want you to think about the dude named James or Bob who's holding the boom mic with his, socks up here and his New Balances on. I want you to take in the whole thing as a practice and understanding that this was set up for you to be addicted. And she's like, wait, what do you mean? Like, I'm coming to you and I paid you money to stop this and you're telling me to do it? And I'm saying, yes, I want you to do it, but I want you to see the whole thing.
From a different perspective.
That's what happened to me at 15.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I wasn't just listening to Outkast and Tupac and Biggie in the car. I went boom, 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 boom. And I got to see enough to go, oh my goodness, this whole thing was set up to hook me like a fish. I will not be hooked.
Yeah.
Right? Because what you resist persists, but what you truly look at disappears.
Yeah.
Well, that girl came back 3 days later. She said, I'm done. I can't do it. And you've ruined porn forever for me.
Yeah.
Because now I see the script. I see the writing. I see the hook.
Yeah.
I see it differently. I can't unsee that there is an industry that wants me to feed on this stuff.
Yeah, it's the consciousness and knowledge of knowing. It's like if you have diamonds, and then you really start doing the research of how diamonds are mined by, kids in Africa and the slavery and what it takes to get them and all that. You feel a little differently about it.
Yes.
Or ivory,
Yes.
I had a woman gift me an ivory piece that was beautiful from Africa, a necklace, and I've never been able to wear it. I mean, I still have it. It's in my drawer, but I just can't wear it. And it's a beautiful piece. It's got like gold inlay and it's ivory and like I want to wear it. I love jewelry, but I just can't because I know what went into that and that process and the energy behind it, That.
Yeah, man. It's, we're living in interesting times and we're so blessed.
Yeah.
It's a unique opportunity.
Yeah.
Because we're now in the times where there are a whole generation of people that have grown up with technology. Right? You would be close to that. You're not. You had life without technology.
Yeah. I was on the cusp, and then my parents didn't really allow. I never played a video game in my life.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And I got a phone when the phones first came out. Smartphones. I got a BlackBerry when I was like 17.
Oh yes. Yeah.
For business, but I didn't grow up. I was on the cusp, but I was blessed to have my parents be very aware too of violence in the video games and the programming and the addiction around it. None of my kids use devices or play video games, and they won't. As long as I have the authority. When they grow up and they're their own age, they can do what they want. It's their choice. But as a father, we have the responsibility. And in this culture today, they're trying to make it like let the kid be a sovereign being and decide. Well, you can't do that. A kid will burn a house down if they decide. They're children. They don't have.
Yes.
But that's a whole other subject in itself. About
Facts.
Parenting and kind of the overwoke. I mean, I call it overwoke, but there might be a better term of the culture where we're kind of erasing these lines and these boundaries that are needed to raise children or just live as human beings with conduct.
Yes.
And I call it the gray zone. When you remove right and wrong, and you live in this gray zone, I call it the gray zone because there's black and white, there's color, there's a spectrum. And if you erase color and you just have this grayness, this wishy-washiness, this relativity, you create chaos.
Facts.
And this is the world that it's becoming, especially Western culture. Absolute chaos.
We are limited beings.
Yeah.
Unlimited in consciousness, but limited beings.
Yeah.
I can only be in this chair. I can't be in that chair if I'm in this chair.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm limited by where I am. And so having boundaries, healthy boundaries, is super important.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation, but I have so many people come to me about that because, even with my kids, every single one of my kids have had to go through the same sort of understanding, which is daddy will not. Like you have a lot of space, but the moment we get right there, if you go on the other side of it, there will be instant consequences and they know it.
Yeah.
So there's a moment where like they can do all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a moment. And, my son Zai, last year, had a moment where I'm putting him down And he's just in the silliest mood. And he's like, nah, bro, I'm not going to sleep. I'm just not doing it. And not only am I not going to sleep, I'm going to make sure nobody in this house goes to sleep because I'm going to be partying and turning the lights on. And I said, buddy, stop.
Yeah.
Zai, Daddy's telling you, stop. He goes right back. He's doing the thing. I said, all right, you got one more. And then we're going to have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
He does it. Instantly, I grab him,
Yep.
throw him over my shoulder. I take him out into the woods. Now, I sit him down in the grass. There's coyotes. It's everything out there, right? I said, we are not going back in that house because that's my house.
Mm-hmm.
You're a part of that house.
Mm-hmm.
You have respect in that house. But you've just crossed the boundary.
Yeah.
So you're going to sit here until you apologize, take ownership, and then we'll go back in.
Mm.
Daddy's not going to leave you, but you're going to be out here in the dark, in the cold.
Yep.
He's crying. I said, buddy, I love you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I love you enough to sit in this. If you want to hug while you cry, I got you.
Yeah.
If you want to be mad and stay over there, I got you. But we won't be going back in the house until you understand who runs this house.
Yeah.
It took about 4 minutes before he was like, all right, I'm sorry.
That's good, man.
We walked back in the house. He laid his ass in the bed and went straight to sleep.
Good for you, man. That's what being a father is. Yeah, a lot of people don't have the courage to do that anymore too, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they just fall into the rhetoric of being a friend.
Yes.
But you got to be a father.
Well, the pendulum has swung, right? Most parents, not yours, but most parents didn't, especially in the 80s and 90s, they did not have the tools and consciousness to understand how much trauma they were enacting on us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I lead a workshop called the Bridge Experience, which, you know, some people have been in it. You're going to have a new podcast guest, Sam, that's been in it and coached in it. In that workshop, there's a moment where we create space for people to share their deepest, darkest, heaviest secrets and be seen and witnessed in it.
Mm.
Now, I've done this in Africa. I've done this in Costa Rica. I've done it in Canada. I've done it in Australia 10 times. I've done it in the UK. I've done it in the US. I've done it all over the world.
Mm.
Every single time. If there is 100 people in the room, 90 of them have experienced sexual abuse.
Mm. Wow.
90.
Yeah.
And of the 90, let's say 50% of that experienced it and then did it to somebody else.
Mm. Hurt people.
That.
Yep.
That is a product of the 80s and 90s and the parenting style, latchkey, right?
Yeah.
I was walking home from school at 5.5 years old.
Yeah.
Anybody could have grabbed me at any point.
Yeah.
Right? Like the TV dinners and parents off doing their own thing, neighbors, anybody could molest you, anything could happen.
Yeah.
And so the pendulum was over here in the 80s and 90s. And because so many of these kids were so wounded by the way that was, and if you grew up in a black culture, then you get beat too.
Mm.
You get beat, and they use the Bible as a way to do it.
Mm.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Mm.
So now you're being you're being beat, and you're left to your own devices in the world. So now the pendulum swings over here. And now we have this soft, sort of fragile, what's it called? Helicopter parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't get hurt, little Joey. And we're there for every little thing.
Yeah.
And what's occurring right now is a correction,
Yeah.
right? We're finding the happy medium. And it's going to take some stumbling and fumbling until we figure out, oh, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Kids need boundaries. Kids need support.
They do.
Kids need... their prefrontal cortexes aren't even fully developed until 25 years old.
Yeah.
You gonna let me make giant world-changing decisions?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Tell them they can choose their gender at 7 years old.
absolutely not, bro.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Madness.
Yeah.
And the society wants you to accept it as normal.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a waymaker and someone with courage to say, this is not fucking normal. This is ridiculous. This is madness, mental illness, you know? Appreciate that, man. Appreciate you being a good father because the world needs good fathers, man.
Likewise, man. I really appreciate that. Like, is one thing I really care about is being a good father.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
It means everything. I want to circle back real quick to the concept, spiritual millionaire and manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of a book called Sacred Commerce, A Blueprint for a New Humanity?
No,
It's a very cool
sounds
book.
awesome.
Yeah, and I thought you might appreciate this because I did thumb through your book a little bit. They have the 12 virtues of the merchant priest. They call them the merchant priests, and they're priests who are responsible for earning money with a spiritual mindset. And they have their 12 virtues: loyalty, nobility, virtue, grace, trust, courage, courtesy, gallantry, authority, service, and humility.
Yes.
And they break those down. And I know you have your 7 inner laws in your book, but I always appreciated, I read that book a couple of years ago, and it helped kind of reframe and shape some things in my mind. And I was, like I said, blessed to be raised with some of that consciousness already and pursue it and have some wins, have some fails, and learn things. But the idea of, we live in a world where you have to have money to achieve things. It just is what it is, and I think people go through these phases of extreme idealism where I'm just going to go live in the woods and, escape reality. And, you could do that, but then who are you in service to? Nobody. You can't serve anybody, really. You're just trying to survive. And to really serve people and to make a mark on the world and touch souls, you have to be able to make impact. And to make impact, you have to have, money. It just is what it is. And so how do people earn that money and use it? And I really feel like there is the cosmic law of reciprocation, and there is meaning, and people call it karma, and whatever they want to call it. But I like to call it the cosmic law of reciprocation. When you give, you will receive. And people don't realize they get it on a human level. Like if I'm friendly to you, you'll be friendly to me. They don't quite equate it with money and giving money or giving time, giving talents, loving. Truly seeing people, and it's okay to even make money with those values, and you will receive back. And it's really important, I think, for humanity to reshape that in the work you're doing. And I think people will begin to understand as they go through their own transformations that the value that you feel in your life isn't from your bank account; it's from your service to others. And the bank account will come. It's part of it. And one more quote you might appreciate from the Urantia book. It says, present-day profit-motivated economics is doomed unless profit motives can be augmented by service motives. Ruthless competition based on narrow-minded self-interest is ultimately destructive of even those things which it seeks to maintain.
Facts. It is its own punishment in itself.
And you become a slave to it.
Facts. And it's like, we'll give the example of if a baby golden retriever came in here right now, and there was 10 of us in the room, what do you think the response would be if a little 10-week-old golden retriever came in?
We'd want to go pet it and play with it?
Yes.
Yeah.
What would the sound? What would the sound of the room be?
Yeah, just like high voice. Oh, so cute.
Oh,
Happiness. Childlike.
Right? If a 2-year-old little cute baby walked in here.
Same thing. Yeah.
There is something magnetic about a being that is living in their true essence. I was doing a podcast for a dating thing, and I said, if you were to see a tiger skateboarding, what do you think would come up for you? And the woman said, I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. And then I'd say, but what else? And she said, well, I'd be like, why is it skateboarding? I said, exactly. The essence of a tiger is not to skateboard. It's to hunt, it's to jump, it's to kill. And so when we are out of alignment with our essence, we're like a tiger skateboarding. When we are in alignment with our essence, we are like a little baby golden retriever or a little child. There's something so magnetic about a human being that's in their pocket and alive and living their truth in such a way that you can't turn away from it.
Authenticity. Yeah.
Yes. And because we have mirror neurons, right? The biology fires off and goes, oh my God, yes. You're alive? I'm alive. You're alive. You feeling that? I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
And so I think there's something so, it's its own punishment and it's its own present. When somebody instantly, in an instant, you can turn from what can I get, what can I accumulate, to what can I allocate. The moment I turn to allocate, in that moment, I'm rich again. And so what we do is we stack moments. We stack consciousness, and that becomes a mood and a way in which we live and operate and have our beingness. I'm not rich because of the stuff I have. I'm rich because of what's occurring in here and in here.
Yep.
I'm rich because I understand these principles. Going back to the one you talked about, would you call it the cosmic?
The cosmic law of reciprocation.
Yes, I call that the double boomerang effect.
Yeah.
Where you throw one boomerang and you receive another one, somebody else's.
Yeah.
Not even the one you threw. But it's all one boomerang. It's all just one
interconnectedness
soup of yes. And it's so easy to see in the woods, in the jungle. And you see that everything's feeding everything. When those leaves fall off, they eventually decay and become soil, and then the worms eat them, and then the birds eat the worms, and then it's just all playing together.
Yep.
And so there is no scarcity in reality. There's only scarcity in the matrix of the mind that we've bought into. The reality of the world right now is there's enough water, enough food, and enough places for everybody to live.
Yeah.
The only thing that has us out of alignment with that is the scarcity mindset of I got to get mine first.
Yeah.
I talk about in this book how, I'll give you the metaphor or analogy of a kid's pizza party. And I've seen this firsthand where all the little kids will be at the birthday party. Somebody brings out a pizza and the mothers and the kids start doing math. There's 30 of us and there's only one box of pizza. And so everybody starts jockeying. Got to get my pizza. Got to get my slice. Got to get my slice for my kid. Got to get it for my kid. When they don't understand that there is an infinite pizza maker. There is an oven called God, Spirit, whatever you want to call that can produce 1 billion more pizzas. This is exactly how it works in the world. We think that there's this finite amount of money, a finite amount of abundance, and I got to get it. I got to run. I got to race to get it. No, you don't.
Before someone else does too.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's enough. Yeah.
That's the punishment right there.
Yeah.
Just the race, right? What you want wants you.
Yeah.
What you seek is seeking you. That shirt, that jewelry, this watch, this shirt, all of it wanted me. I got this 20-something years ago in India, in a little village. I was by myself in India for a month, traveling on buses and trains, just like regular Indians. And this piece always wanted to be with me. And it was a date with destiny. It was always going to happen.
Yeah.
These abundance chairs from Nigeria, all of this is money.
Yeah.
These were always going to be my chairs. And before they were a chair, this was a tree. And this tree and I were always connected, and so were you. This whole thing was already written.
Yeah.
We just had to be a yes to our yes.
Yeah.
And honor and accept when it's here.
Yeah.
That's another whole nother can of worms, is we get what we want and then we start looking, what else can I get? Bitch, be here.
Yeah.
Get this.
Yeah.
And that will be produced.
Yeah, man. The consciousness of, I say believe in the magic, because we live in a world where people lose sight of the magic.
Oh, man.
The esoteric, the supernatural, the beauty, but that's more real actually than the chairs, the building we're in.
Facts.
The physical manifestation. This all only exists because of the spiritual reality.
Facts.
The dimension that, conducts reality.
Yeah, the thing that rotates the planet and grows the grass. There is an unseen force.
Absolutely.
And for me, there's not two forces. There's only one.
Yeah.
Not two. I know people believe in evil and X, Y, Z. I think people do evil, toxic shit. But there is only one force, and that force is a neutral force. That force does not say, I, Santa Claus, would like to only bless this person because they prayed on their knees at this particular time. That force says, yo, I'm the one power.
Yeah.
Hitler used this force. Gandhi used this force. Martin Luther King uses this force. Preston uses it every single day.
Yeah. Well, I think there's, good can come from evil, so to speak, and God's always in control. Yes. So if something happens, even if it appears to be evil, dark, negative, wrong, God allowed it to happen. There's a teaching in it, and the teaching may be a hard one, maybe a bitter pill to swallow, but it's still a teaching, and God still allowed it. Our suffering, we often create our own selves too, but God doesn't want his children to suffer. No, like your father, would you ever want your child to suffer? No, but you may allow your child to learn from their mistakes, understand natural consequences. You know, they're running around the pool. You told them to stop running 20 times. They don't listen.
Yeah.
Okay, he's going to slip and fall and he'll learn.
Yes.
You know, that's, you know, you didn't make it happen. You're just
Yes.
allowing it to happen.
Facts.
And that's how God runs the universe. I think he allows his children to learn from their mistakes, to learn from their actions, you know, and you can't,
just
you
for
can't be mad
clarity's
at
sake, you think it's a dude?
I think that, well, I think it's complex. I think there's a celestial hierarchy. I personally prescribe to the father concept of God, but I think there is the feminine aspect too. So there's a universal mother and the universal father. And the way I talk to people about God is, when you're a loving father, like I just explained, you know, God's not this scary guy in the sky like the Old Testament who's just punishing. He's fatherly love. There's motherly love. So there is duality. And there's the Holy Trinity too, the Father, the Son, the Mother. So I do believe in the Heavenly Father, the universal Father. And you can, if people grow up in a, you know, religion with a lot of fear and shame, you know, but then you say, okay, let's just pull that back and let's think about the Creator as a father. And if you're a father, or you had a good father, would that father ever want to punish your child? Your kid could be in the streets doing heroin. You'll never give up on him, ever. You're always going to believe in that child. Yeah. You're always going to love that child, regardless of their mistakes. That's how God loves us. It's a fatherly love. Now, I feel like divinity is complex, and it represents masculine and feminine, you know? And so, yeah, I don't think it's some old white dude in the sky, you know, like the Old Testament or anything like that. But I personally refer to it as the Creator, Heavenly Father, God, you know, whatever. And then the Universe, Mother, Spirit. Connect with that creation too. And, you know, there's the connection that you get with the feminine aspect of divinity through nature. For me personally, like that's where I tap into that. That's where I can calm my masculine beast is in nature, you know, and obviously with a beautiful compliment, a woman, you know, my partner, you know, that, you know, divine feminine, you know, but we live in a world where there's such a role of the man is the leader and this is that, and he's the provider and the woman is this. But you have a beautiful dance with your wife from what I've seen, you know, I do too with my wife, and the counsel and the intuition and the nurturing wisdom that a woman can give, you know, we're partners where we work together. There's things that my wife can teach and do that I'll never be able to do, and vice versa. And recognizing that and honoring that and having that partnership is really a beautiful thing when you can establish it. And I think people in relationships today, they have their constructs of what they saw with their parents or what they, you know, see. It's all got to be written. They got to throw that shit out and rewrite the story, you know?
Truth.
And the divine feminine is a very important role in humanity. It's going to bring the healing, you know, the feminine age. They call it the Aquarian age. But if you look at history, a lot of problems have been caused by men in power. And in my upbringing in our community, in our culture too, we believe in that duality, that leadership should be shared between a man and a woman, because you need both to have balance. You know, if it's just one, there's going to be an imbalance. Either way, just one woman or one man. If you have both, you have both spectrums of balance. And so in that sense, I see God as both too. I think it translates down to these, you know, flesh mortal bodies that we're in. We have to see ourselves is divine. We have the spark of God within us. We have the spirit of truth within us. And we can tap into that consciousness, and we can conduct ourselves in a way with that integrity, you know, and not see we are created beings. That's the base level of spiritual consciousness, is understand we're created being, becoming cognizant that there's a creator and we're created. But in that duality, we have the gift of being creators in the sense that we create the reality that God has already designed for us. We manifest it. There's a blueprint. We have personalities. We're ascending toward that blueprint to become who God already made us to be. Like, I feel that each soul that's created has a destiny purpose, has a personality, but we have to earn it. We have to ascend to it and come into it and walk into that. And that's a process that some people are blessed to do early in life. Some people it takes their whole life. Some people never really fully embody it. That's not God's fault. He already created it. It's there. It's in the dimension. We have to come into it, manifest it.
Facts. That's beautiful.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I sort of have a similar understanding that the seed contains the blueprint for the entire tree. And, you know, this acorn, for example, defies the laws of physics. Like, this little seed, and then it becomes this, you know, 100, 200 foot tree. And inside of that acorn has everything that it needs to produce that tree. And yet there's a big distinction between trees that grow 3 feet, shrivel up and die, and trees that grow 100 and create shade and food and water. And to me, that distinction is the soil that it's planted in. And so,
got to build good soil.
that I think that all humans, right? You shared your philosophy. My philosophy is there are no mistakes in God. There's nowhere where I can be separate from that thing.
Yeah.
And there is a divine curriculum and blueprint, master blueprint for each soul that comes onto this planet. And whether they get there or not, they're in service to the whole soul, the oversoul, which is the connective tissue of all of us. So giving the example of my father, my dad's father jumped out of a window drunk and never came back. So my dad, 5 boys, oldest of 5 boys, goes from child to parentified child. Now he's the big brother that has to be the dad. And so my dad grows up. At 17, he moves from West Virginia to LA. He gets introduced to heroin and crack and weed and coke. And he goes, oh, I'm done with responsibility. I just spent 5 to 17 raising my other brothers. I'm about to get high. Then he meets my virgin mother, who's Virgo and super strict and so loving and such a beautiful, committed family person. And he goes, wow, she's so pure and so clean. And then these 2 beings who were always supposed to find each other produce my sister and then produce me. And then that baton is passed to me. And my dad raises me with so much love, so much care. At 15 years old, I got out of the car. No, this was 14. Curtis Middle School. I got out of the car. I'll never forget this. My dad was dropping me off at school, and he leaned over and he kissed me. Love you. And I got out of the car, and I walked to my friends, and they said, did your dad just kiss you on the lips, bro? I was like, yeah, of course. Does it all the time. Doesn't your dad?
Yeah.
And they were like, nah, man, that's some gay stuff. And then in my mind, it's like, oh, other people's dads don't do this. So my dad went from no dad to raising his brothers to going wilding out, having these children, and then making the decision that he's going to be more present than his dad ever could be.
Beautiful, yeah.
Then he produces me.
Yeah.
Now look who I am as a father.
Affection.
This is all one soul.
Yeah.
Filling the gaps. Remembering, creating the mosaic, the divine tapestry that will then get destroyed again. We'll start all over.
Yeah.
We'll go back to placing our little salts.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I think the whole thing is interesting. And I also think we don't know enough to know what's really going on.
We don't
know what's in the ocean, let alone whether God has a dick or not.
The universe, or who cares, Exactly. Who cares whether God is, I just know there's a creator.
Facts.
What form, how it manifests, I have my beliefs, but the cool thing is when you become confident in your beliefs, whether it's spiritual, political, or about what pizza you want.
Yes.
If you believe it and you're confident, I don't need you to believe it to like you or to care or to be a brother or to love you.
And it's true. It's true for you in that moment.
But that's the mistake of this world, is that with religions especially, or when you're not confident, like, I need you to believe what I believe. Yes. You have to believe what I believe. No, you don't.
Yeah. It's that is, I'm not always enlightened. I'll say that. Yeah. And one of the things that pisses me off more than anything is that. Yeah. I grew up in the church. Yeah. And the religious guilt and the shaming and the you're a dirty sinner, that thing. And I found my dick at 12. Every time I jacked off, I just thought, oh, Jesus is watching. You're a dirty piece of shit. Stop right now. Yeah. I never made love to a woman ever until I met my wife. Because every woman I had sex with, in my mind, I was going, stop right now. Jesus is watching. You're a sinner. Stop right now. Jesus is watching. You're a sinner. Yeah. So it was this tainted experience. Yeah. which was overlaid by this religious guilt.
Yeah.
That
Not that there's not all the nuance of what it means to take from a woman and not give and all that.
yes,
You know, that's all wrapped up in there.
yes,
But when you met your wife, you had evolved enough
mm-hmm.
to receive as well,
That.
you know, and to give
yes,
and to receive and to
Dude,
have that sacred union.
that.
You know, that's a whole big subject in itself, you know, like
Dude.
sex and men and lust and that's just a massive subject. There's so much healing that needs to be done,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
because the culture of even just pornography, it's all man-based.
Yes,
It's about the man, you know, the
Yes.
man getting pleasure off the woman. What about the woman? What is
Yes.
she giving? You know, and so
Yep.
that's a big subject, but it's so much to talk about. Man, I could rap with you for hours. I know you got to roll, but I just appreciate your time, man. It's we could go off on all kind of tangents, but thanks, man. This has been awesome. I think our audiences are gonna love it, and appreciate you rapping with me, brother. It's been good. Much blessings, man.
Subscribe, like, share, follow. You know the routine. Thanks for listening.